in my life. Growing up in that family as the only girl in the family and observing what was going on in the church, there were a few things that were not making sense to me. I saw it all. I saw people fall down. I saw people manifest with demons. I saw my father preach, especially after, the event that we just had, the Easter. My dad would preach powerfully, and he would speak, things like, when he died, he took away our curses. When he died, he took away our sicknesses, our poverty, and the church would be so excited. The Resurrection Sunday, would wake up early in the morning in the Baptist church and would get white bed sheets and go around the compound singing that he has risen. Would sing songs in Lamba, and would go round. But let me tell you something. Afterwards, lives were not transformed. I still saw people falling under demonic this. I saw poverty. Being a pastor's child, you actually experience it because you are able to check the offering basket. So even when they've talked about how Jesus died and he took away poverty, I saw poverty after my father finished preaching. I saw it. And so I started researching, what is this dying? Why did Jesus die, but yet as believers we are still poor, we are still sick, we are still falling and taking Satana, takagwila, takaponda ponda, takataya, but it's like Satana would wake up again to harass us. Would ponder him, will squeeze his neck, throw him in the toilet, somehow he woke up. So I started a research for the past 25 years to really understand, what is this thing in the church? What is this drama in the church? Why especially women are abused emotionally, financially, sexually in the name of following papas and following prophets and so on and so forth. And for 25 years, the Lord began to minister to me a number of things, because I also experienced a number of things in my own family. Premature death. My brother was murdered when he was only 35, and then a year later my other brother was involved in a road accident, and so there was bloodshed in my family. So a lot of things were not making sense. I'm just a pastor's child who grew up only knowing God. I grew up only in the church. Why is my life not making sense? And why are pastors' children dying the way they are dying? So through that research, the Lord began to speak to me that actually you do not deal with the devil the way we were dealing with him, shouting at him. It is like you shouting at a bailiff. When a bailiff comes to your house to collect furniture or collect your TV or whatever it is, when you begin to fight the bailiff, you are going to attract more issues. And so that is what we're doing. Satan could only harass you as a child of God when there's a legal ground of contention. And so through the research, the Lord gave me an understanding of the courts of heaven. And so I've penned down a book. We've got the books on the tables. They are transitioning to the courts of heaven. That is how the Lord helped me to be a gatekeeper for my family and to stop the spirit of premature death. That is how the Lord helped me to deal with things, poverty in my life, because I realized if I know Christ, why am I poor? I began to do a lot of research, and I've packaged most of the things in that book. And last year the Lord gave me a burden to give 1,000 copies to the people that gathered at Government Complex as a blessing to help them the way God came through for my family. I needed God to come through for people's families, for them to stop being abused, for them to stop just falling and doing drama in the church. And so I was so blessed to give 1,000 copies last year. Coming to this year, I've been praying, Lord, what do we have this year? What is it that needs to happen this time? By the way, why this year and why every time in April? Because I was born on the 17th of April. I actually frustrated the reproductive system of my mom. There was shock in her system because she got used to having boy children. Every time she conceived, only XY managed to make it in the womb. Only XY sperm was able to fertilize the egg. And lo and behold, God came through one day and made a stage to say, this time we want to frustrate something because somebody has to be born. And so medically speaking, the XY sperm, swims faster in the reproductive system of a woman, but has got a shorter lifespan, like 12 to 36 hours. The XX, which makes girls, has got a longer lifespan, which is 48 to 72 hours in the system of a woman, but they move slowly. And so I imagine when I left my father's loins as XX, as I was swimming through, and the brothers overtook me, and they thought this time they want to have the good time. When they reached, they did not find the egg. And as I was swimming through, coming slowly but surely from behind, taking my time, I found the dead brothers on the way. And I was like, sorry, brother, it is my time. It is my season. It is me now to be born. And guess what? Lo and behold, I believe in 1969, I managed to change the status of things in my mother's womb, the status of things in my father's family, because it almost caused divorce for my mom because she was not having girls. And according to our culture, if you are not having girls, you are finishing the cattle from the cattle crow. Because every time the boy is getting married, he is getting cattle to go and take in another cattle crow. And so because my mom was not having girls, she was under pressure in the home, which almost led my dad to almost backslide, because he took in whatever, there's a story behind there and everything that happened. And I showed up, girl. As I arrived in that home, I confused everything, and on the 17th of April 1970, lo and behold, when they showed my mother, it was a different sex. It was a girl. And the moment I landed, I brought order in my mother's life, in my father's family. My father was losing his calling, wanting to find other women to give him girls, changed his mind. He got back to order. The apostle was restored in his life as I showed up the very day I was born. Mom should have been here. She's late. She passed on 13 years ago. Should bear witness to the order I brought when I was born. Just when I made the first cry, the demon that haunted my father, wanting to confuse the family, left him. He came back to Normandy, was reinstated in the Baptist church. And that is why 17th of April for me is not just an ordinary day. Because 17th of April, a scepter carrier was born. A gatekeeper for the family was born. I stand here and I've prayed for my family. I have prayed to God, and God has stopped premature death for my brothers. I have prayed and God has reinstated us back into royalty, because there were certain things that happened in 1932 that made us to be removed from royalty. But then I have a reason as a girl. I came number 6 as the youngest in the family. In our culture, as women, you don't talk. Only men speak. As a woman, you are down, you are a Tumbuka woman, so you should just, yeah, baba, and just kneel down. Not this girl. I arose and I changed things in my family. And so 17th of April for me is beyond just a day, because a scepter carrier was born. I call myself a principality in my family. You do not get into my family minus going through me. You cannot enter to go and confuse my nephews without going through me. There is no demon that can harass any marriage in my family. And those who are close to me, they know I am big at that. And so we are gathered this year, and I was asking the Lord, what do I do this year? As we were getting into this year, the Lord helped me to mentor a number of people for the past 3 years who managed actually to be isolated and to be, spotlighted. And they received UN Global Awards. It was such an honor to have 51 people selected to receive awards in New York. It was so amazing. And most of these people, we began. You will see these that are displayed here. You need to listen to their stories. Some of them thought they would even own a company. But through the mentorship programs that God has helped me to come up with, some of them, God has helped them to align and begin to internationalize their brands. Would like to formally, because they were recognized in the New York, but would like to formally recognize them in Zambia. Let me tell you what I've learned. If no one claps for you, clap for yourself. Okay, so we have instituted this summit to just clap for ourselves and spotlight ourselves, take selfies for ourselves that we just landed from New York. We just landed from New York and we were recognized with awards. If you are not part of that, don't worry, because there is also next year. Okay? So that's why we are here. That is number one. Number two, also I've realized that collaboration is the most important thing to get to another level. So we've collaborated with different organizations. My mom here, my mother, she's a trendy Alangizi. Did you hear me? The trendy Alangizi. So she bridges the gap from the old to the divas, to say, hey divas, culture also has got some nice things. And then also elderlies don't remain, they are also G-strings today. So that's why she's the trendy. Okay, so the rest I leave it to her before she removes me from the pulpit for misbehaving. But anyway, so I've partnered also with her. She's got Hebrew women that, you know, we pray together to ensure that we preserve our culture. But also she's big at ending, you know, period poverty. So we are going to be giving period cups to some young people in conjunction with Trinity Girls. And then after this event, we'll be going to the female prisons to go and give these cups to the prisoners, the female prisoners, because a cup lasts 10 years. When you buy that period cup, you give to somebody, for 10 years, they will never buy any sanitary towel. And it is very hygienic because there is no contact to the blood like most of the sanitary towels that we wear, but or even the tampons that we push in, we get to have a lot of diseases. So we, through this, celebrating my birthday for me is not, Dr. Nellie, you've blessed my heart, happy birthday. No, it is all of you who have come from different countries, from within Zambia. Some of you have bought tickets and you are saying we want to contribute. So the proceeds, you are also contributing to buying those period cups. Come on. But also we are going to be blessing our friends, the albinos. You know, they've got different skin and their skin is very sensitive. So we have also bought some sunscreens, you know, creams to help them so that their skin, you know, can actually, you know, have that, some tolerance with the heat. And also glasses and umbrellas. So we have partnered the organizations like Love in Action. Love in Action, are you here? Okay, Love in Action, those are my mentees. I've been grooming them and supporting them, and I'm saying, girl, I want to also support you in just giving such donations. So the meeting here has got such an angle, but we are about to start. Today we are going to break a number of things and break some protocols. It is boardroom to bedroom. Why boardroom to bedroom? Boardroom as not a room, but marketplace. Bedroom, not a room, but family. Sitting where I sit on the other side of the chair, I'm seeing a lot of women succeeding and a lot of men succeeding. And as we are succeeding and having PhDs, we are being called doctor this and doctor that. When we look back, we are seeing that our families are being disgruntled because we have become too busy pursuing our career, which is beautiful. But what is that career when your family is disgruntled? What is that doctorate when your son, because of your absence and being absent, you know, on the phone, on the laptop, your son is now on drugs? This is how I call it. It's like you've got a needle without thread and you are busy sewing. And as you are sowing your career, by the time you finish, now you have Dr. Somebody, you have traveled all the nations. When you look back, the material is actually not sown because your family is disgruntled. Your husband is out by the window. Your children are on drugs. Your children have changed their sex. They are now whatever transgender. You don't even know because you are not observant. You don't know what is happening. We no longer have dinner together. Each one is having a plate, going to eat from the bedrooms. We are busy on the phones. So many things that are good that have happened, but they've got some disadvantages. We are going to discuss those things. How do we get back? How do we still make it in the marketplace and still make it in the bedroom? What are we supposed to do? Because I always say, even if you are tired, madam, you are not married to your grandfather for him to understand you are tired. You know, so we talk about those things. How do you still behave coming out of heels and your nails and you get home? What are you supposed to do there before actually something takes over and you remain with only papers in your hands? We will be discussing those things. We are also going to be discussing the importance of a parent being part of the career of a child, identifying from when a child is young. We are going to discuss in this place how, even if you are impregnated and that man was just a sperm donor, it doesn't change the rules that that child carries the blood of the father. So how do you align? And we have, you could hear the yes, because she manages that platform to ensure that fathers are united with their children regardless of your emotional status. You may be quarreling and arguing. Don't add children in your love affair, because you are going to mess them up. We will discuss those things here. How do you manage very successful as a man? You've got all the degrees and you've got a big post, and your wife is not really looking up to the point, and there are divas wearing minis at work. How do you stand? Integrity in the marketplace. We will deal with those matters. So keep your questions, because we will interrogate the speakers today. So get your questions. You will pass the questions to the director of programs that we are going to give to them, because we are going to have a power-packed day. We shall discuss the stigma of divorce. How do you arise from being divorced, getting married, the blended families? There is stigma in Africa. When you are divorced, it's like you've got leprosy. You know, when you're a stepmother, somehow when you just marry a man with children, you become the evil. How do we deal with those things? Have I preached well? You see why I celebrate my birthday? Because I was born talking, and Dr. Akan will explain to you about all those things, how you don't find it difficult to do the thing that you were born to do. I was taught to just give opening remarks, and I've ended up preaching the whole sermon. Thank you so much for listening. God bless you.